Devon Achane is week to week. He's the Miami running back with a shoulder injury. Now, he's tiny, Tom. I didn't even realize this. First off, they just still have a track team over there with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle. It's insane. 5'9", 180 pounds. Achane, not really a workhorse type of back. He's a guy who can explode. Are we going to see explosions this year, Tom? Shoulder injury, not lower body, but what type of shoulder injury are we dealing with here?
Yeah, they haven't disclosed exactly what the injury was, but we know that it's not super severe, and we know that it's a shoulder injury, and we have a very clear video of the mechanism of injury. He basically landed right on the side of the shoulder, which is a classic mechanism for an AC joint or an SC joint injury, most commonly an AC joint injury. And based off what they're saying, that's really what it sounds like. So if we're going under the assumption that it's an AC joint injury, it's likely a grade 1, since they think he's going to be out, week to week. Possibly a grade 2, but more likely grade 1. Grade 2 would be more of a 2 to 6 week return to play. Definitely elevated re-injury risk from just understanding the mechanism of the injury and how a running back gets tackled often. But since 2017, in our data set on fantasyinjuryteam.com, we have 9 running backs who have had an AC joint injury, and only one had a recurrent injury that same season. And in our sample size of 13 wide receivers, again, only one had a recurrence of that injury in the same season. The issue here is that Achane is probably the smallest out of any of those running backs in the sample size, and probably smallest out of the receivers too. So he's going to have a harder time absorbing force when he gets hit, and that's going to inherently put him at a higher risk for any injury, but also a re-injury here. Is it a dramatic enough increased risk that you're not going to take him in the back of the draft anyway, where he was going? Probably not. And another one that you weren't going to start week 1, weren't going to start week 2, most likely. So the fact that he may not return till it sounds like he'll probably be ready week 1, but if he's not ready until week 2 or 3, again, that's not playing into your strategy, your draft strategy whatsoever. So if we think of this holistically, I don't think we really need to be worried about this injury for redraft or even for dynasty. It would be a different story if he was like an RB1, then maybe, we're considering that he might not be ready for week 1 or 2, but even still, not a major long-term rest of the season concern.
And you said the reoccurrence rate is very low. Play a little devil's advocate here. That you actually made me think about this. So he might be healthy just about, he's week to week, and he might not have this injury again. It does worry me, though, if he's not fully 100% to start the year, because he's a guy I think I could actually see the Dolphins. I mean, maybe not JT, but I could see them signing somebody, and they still have Mostert. They still have Jeff Wilson. I think Achane was already going to be a guy that if he does break out this year and crushes ADP, if it would take 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So now I'm just a little bit worried that maybe that timeline gets pushed back a little bit. You expressed a little bit of concern. I don't know. I mean, I just don't see the standalone value unless he really, really crushes these guys. And one more thing on him, Tom. I read up on him quite a bit earlier today, and they're comping him, real big quiz for you here. They're comping him to a guy who played, oh gosh, like when we were in high school, like 10, 12 years ago, a very small running back. You might want to say Darren Sproles, not him. He played for the Falcons.
Sproles played for the Falcons.
He might have. Yeah. Okay.
It's not Michael Turner, is it?
Good guess. Michael Turner was a big boy, though.
Yeah.
Warwick Dunn. Remember that name?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was great.
He was awesome. That's like his comp in terms of like a small guy can do it. But, again, you're not really overly concerned. I'm just worried there's not enough standalone value. But if you take him real late, then you go for it, and we'll see, how this backfield pans out. I do think they do love a good running back by committee here, but we'll see. He's still a good player for sure. Speaking of good players, this guy, man, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, bad news for him, but it looks like could be worse. He had a slight fracture in his wrist, right? He's having surgery now, had it already, right? What's going on with JSN, Tom?
Wrist fracture with surgery. We know that. When it comes to wrist fractures, there are certain bones and certain parts of the bone that could warrant a lengthy absence. The scaphoid bone is usually the one that is an issue here. So if we think David Johnson from several years back, wrist fracture like week 1, I believe, and he missed the rest of the season. Not the case with JSN here, clearly, if this is such a quick potential timeline. Pete's saying that he's going to be ready week 1. We can't listen to Pete Carroll. We know that
I'm
can't
just
listen
laughing
to him.
whenever you say Pete Carroll, it's just funny.
Yeah.
That guy just talks, man.
Usually 4 to 6 weeks. But I mean, we saw Tyler Lockett, different injury, but a hand fracture last year and only missed 1 game. That was pretty remarkable. I'm going to guess that this is going to be more 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll probably see him miss at least week 1, possibly week 2. But once he's back, I expect no dip in production whatsoever. Upper body injury does not affect running, cutting, agility. And as soon as he gets his range of motion back in his hand, which shouldn't take more than a week or so, he should be able to catch just fine, like he always does. But long term, this is not a concern whatsoever.
Been dying just to talk about him because, again, I dive into videos. Tom, do you ever catch yourself on YouTube? Do you do that? Am I the only one who does that? Just YouTube JSN highlights. YouTube. Now I'm going to go watch Work Done highlights. It just gets me excited for the football season. Like I watch some of his highlights. It's just, go ahead, Tom.
I'm sure you're not the only one, but I forget if I've told you this. I legitimately did not know that people like used YouTube for anything other than how to do something videos and 5-minute movie clips until we started doing this a year ago. I swear, I had
90 years old.
I had
YouTube
no
has
idea.
Full movies on it. YouTube has everything ever. Are you?
Hey, I had no idea. And now every time I'm at your house, we're watching Miss Rachel, who apparently is making millions of dollars making little baby videos.
Shout out to all the parents out there that know Miss Rachel. If you know, you know. But JSN, listen, it sucks. He's going to miss, maybe you said 4 to 6 from now. So, I mean, what you think, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, whatever that is, if that. We hope he's back. He's another guy, man. I've just been, again, dying to talk about him. If the discount's offered, I think his ADP is probably going to slide around. You might get him now, whereas before you might have targeted him in the 6th or 7th. He might go to the 7th or the 8th, even the 9th round. Those are times that you jump on him. I mean, as a player, every measurable JSN has was insane. He's a 3-level threat, led the nation in so many categories last year. He has always talk about this. I always talk about standalone value. He has it. Lockett doesn't command an extraordinary amount of targets, right? DK might, but he's going to be good with them there. If any of them go down, Lockett's a little bit older. DK Metcalf is a huge dude. I don't know if he's going to get hurt. Knock on wood. Hope he doesn't. But he's going to push them. If one of those guys go down, he's going to be a low end, possibly a wide receiver 1. Don't laugh at me. Don't call me crazy. It's true. He's that good. And Geno just got paid. It's wheels up for this team, man. The preseason game, JSN was 3 for 58 on 3 targets, like boom, boom, boom on 1 or 2 drives. Well, let's talk about this last thing, right? And God, I should have been an Ohio State fan in 2021. Their wide receivers, man.
Insane.
So stupid. So during that 2021 season at Ohio State, Chris Olave, 65 catches for 936. He's getting picked now in the 3rd round. Great player. Garrett Wilson getting picked in the 2nd round, who's tremendous. 70 catches for 1058. Being these 2 guys were 23, Olave and Garrett Wilson, JSN was 21 years old. He was 2 years younger than these guys, and he made these NFL studs look like his children. JSN, 95 catches for 1606. He almost doubled the amount of yards that Olave had. Like, insane. This guy is going to be the best of the best. He's so super talented. Sucks that he's going to miss a couple weeks, but I think he gets right going, and he could be a guy that either wins your league or crushes his ADP later in the year. All right.